and I have been toiling. I promise I have. All right. I've been working hard. I've been working long, and I think this is the moment that I want to run with. Is it the best? Eh, probably probably not. But it can always there's always improvement somewhere. I just have to find it. But anyway, forgive my manners. Hello. How are you all doing today? I hope you're doing well. I am doing fantastical. I've been working real hard on this Bulma deck, and I think I finally crushed it. I think so. All right. There's still some things I'm a bit iffy about, but I got some spice too, as you can see from the cards. And yeah, I can't. Let's get into it. So there was some alterations for the last video, but pretty much we kept this the same. We kept this the same. We're still at 3D magics. Now I put two desperate measures in there, and these are side deckable. All right, like you can put them in a side deck. They don't have to be a mainstay in the deck. The reason I put them in though is because when you get ready to activate your effect, if you're on your awakened side, you will be able that card actually goes into your energy because of your leader's effect. So you're effectively minusing your opponent while ramping up yourself. So I was like, it's a win-win. You know what I mean? The reason I put it at two. Now maybe you could get away with running it at one, but the reason I kept it at two is because I don't like running cards at one. I feel like if I'm gonna run out something at one, I just don't want to see it, and if I don't want to see it, I don't want it in the deck. So, and yeah, I know you probably be like, but what about the SCR? SCRs are different. Those can really do something, and so I felt like it was better off to run it at two, so at least there was a good chance I could see it. We stayed at four with the Chi-Chis. Now this one, I believe I was at three in the last video. I went down to two. Again, she's not like a major part of the deck, but she does help you become better, if that makes sense. Being able to throw down two rampable cards with their effects still active is really good. Now, Ox King is I know I put him in the side deck, but he's actually the biggest addition to this deck. And I'm actually thinking about upping him to four because if you see this guy first turn, right, you're running it. All right, you are running it with it. All right, because his ability to look at the top five cards from the top of your deck and place up to one blue Earthling card into its owner's drop, then shuffle his deck. So pretty much, he lets you get one of your one drops and throw it right into the drop. And the reason this is great on turn one is because if you see him turn one, you charge an energy, you play him turn one. Turn two, you're more than likely gonna see Poir or the Oolong. So if you see the turn two, let's just say you have Poir in hand, then you play Poir, then you send her to the drop, and you get that card that you sent with Ox King. You put that on the field, and its effect is only negated for one turn. So if you grab a bunny and you put her into the drop, well, now during your opponent's turn, you can activate battle and sort of throw her into the drop. And even if you don't have a self defense in hand, you can still just throw her into the drop. And because of your leader, she'll go into your energy. So you'll be at four energy, if that makes sense, right? So let me just reword it for you. So turn one, you charge an energy, you play him, you luckily don't whiff, and you get one of your one drops into the drop, preferably the bunny. Turn two, you charge, you play Poir, you charge Poir to play the bunny. Then during your opponent's turn, you charge the Bulma, and now you are at four energy. And when you hit your turn three, you'll be at five energy. And that's pretty much it. Allows you to set up really good from that plays like that, which is why I really like him. And I'm really thinking about putting him at turn four. And another beautiful thing is that if your opponent, if this card is in battle, and you use your leader's effect to sort of boost him up by 15, he gets another 1100, making him 11,000, making him 13, and he can't be removed by your opponent's skills for the turn. So it's actually really, he can stay on the board a long time. So I'm really thinking about bumping him up to four. Again, we kept these ones at four. Now I did drop the Yamchas down to three, and the reasons I went and dropped them from four to three is because I really don't care to see him. All right, so let me explain. Right, like so for all my three drops, I charged them. I don't because they are. It's better for me to draw into them or have them into my deck than it is for me to just discard them. So any of my three drops, I charge up. Um, but he's not like, even though he's one of the strong, he probably is like the strongest card. He's one of the strongest cards in the deck because of his double strike and his ability to strike twice with the double strike. I just didn't feel the need to keep him at four. And I'm already at 55 cards, and I really feel like I'm pushing it. Like there's definitely a few cards I could probably shave down. Like I want to see Chi Chi, but I could see me dropping her down to three. I could see me dropping down some of these other ones down to three. Um, Keeping Ox King at three, even dropping this down to two. But no, it's, I feel like 55 cards is still good because you do get to see a good chunk of the deck while you're playing it. Um, so I'm not too worried about it. I just don't want to get past 55. Once I get past 55, then I feel like I'm doing too much. So yep, Ox King really good. Yamcha, he's okay. Yeah, you know, there's an argument for keeping him at four. I can see that because you do want to keep your opponent, on their toes, and you do want to see this guy. So maybe he can be bumped up to four. I'm not really. I'm really just playing around with the ratios at this point. But again, we got our super combo. Now we do have one Master Roshi Wise Teachings, and the reason he's here is because he is a 15k dual attack. Um, I still don't like him. He can get rid of your opponent's cards, but he just bounces them back to hand. So I don't know. I don't value that as much as being able to be like a Yamcha or a um Ox King. And again, you know my rule or my new rule, which is if you see one of them, you probably don't need them. And that's what I'm leaning towards. We're just gonna take him out. All right, whatever. We can go up to that. Oh, whoops. Um, Actually, we'll keep this down at three for a while, just for side deckable purposes. But yeah, no, don't even worry about that guy. Next, we dropped her down to two as well. There is an argument for bumping her up to three. Again, the only way I play her, I don't play her from hand normally. I just use Hopoi Castle to sort of toss an energy out, grab her, and throw her on the field and let her put some blockers on the table for me. We do have three heroic prospects. Now, depending on what you draw, it is possible to set this up at turn two. Depending on how you go into your turn three. So, remember earlier how I talked about going into Ox King, into Poir, and then some other shenanigans. There is a chance that you don't get that, and you need to set up for a heroic prospect. It really depends on the deck you're playing against. For example, like someone like a Rinsu who just throws out so many bodies on the board, I would feel my turn one for like a swarmy deck like that would be to charge, um, play like a Puar or an Oolong. Hope I draw one of them. Char, when they attack me, I combo, and then um, oh no, I'm sorry. So turn one, right? I would charge. I would play like a Puar Oolong. I would do their effects, and then I would immediately place this card. Oh no, I wouldn't be able to do that. Oh no. No, no. Yeah, it's really hard to set up a heroic prospect turn two. Can be done depending on the card you have, but it's very very rough because you're not really sending these guys to your energy till turn two when you awaken. And so it's kind of like, yeah, you could get the unison out. You could get a unison out on turn two. Turn three is way more likely though. So your turn two is going to be really rough against a swarmy deck. I would probably bump up D Magic up to four, just so you're guaranteed to see it, and probably bump down Hero Prospect. Because again, it's gonna be very rough, and the wrist just swings so many times at your turn two that it can be very rough to sort of get past that. If you can get into turn three, you're gonna be just fine. Um, but yeah, probably minus one, especially with like Red Vegeta and stuff like that. Next up, we have our Son Gohan Baby's Minion. I actually removed the other Gohan out, the SH one, and put this one in because it was just a better trade off. Um, Three energy, and your opponent can't. your opponent can still attack, but they lose cards from hand, and in order for them to sort of swing over you, they already have to beat um I'm sorry, hold on, let me just switch it back. They already have to beat this effect. So chances are that if you have enough energy, you tag out 3 and you get your Gohan on the board, and now your opponent not only has a swing, but every swing they make has to count because they're losing a card from hand. So they're effectively giving you 2 cards to maybe do damage. So it can stop them early game, make them think twice, before they go for that swing. And now we have the Sun Goten Calamity Challenger, right? And I know you're probably like, why is this guy in here? Well, besides his ability to be a turn 1 cantrip, right? This is something you can do on like your turn 2. You play this guy, you draw a card. And then you can look at the top 7 cards of your deck to play 1 mono blue Sun Gohan Adolescence Orvidel card with an energy cost of 3 and 2000 power, then shuffle your deck. And if you play the card, you place this card at the bottom of his owner deck. So pretty much, right, you can play this guy for free. Well, for 1 energy, you get this guy out. And then you can use his effect to sort of switch up the 2 of your energy to active mode. You get to draw 2 cards. It's sort of crazy how that works out. Because I asked one of my friends who's a judge, I was like, "Yo, can I play this in order to play this?" And they were like, "Yeah." So I am running with it. That's kind of real funny actually. So I'm kind of laughing about that, and the fact that he places himself at the bottom of the deck. So if you do this, if you use this effect after you awaken, congratulations, you are ramping up to 3 energy. So you're already at 3 energy turn 2. All right. And you have this 20k guy here chilling who's going to stand up 2 of your energy at the end of your turn. So your turn 2 can be really different depending on the cards you play and what you pull. So again, your turn 1, you can do the Ox King into the Poir. Turn 2, turn 1, you can also do the Calamity Challenger into the Sun Gohan. You can add, there's actually a few other Gohans you can add into the Adolescence. Hold on one second. Um, let me just look that up real fast. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-bum-bum. I need a energy cost of 3. Yeah. Blue. And we need a Gohan. With a power of 20. Not 30. Just 20. And yep. Let's just submit that. What do you mean no cards found? Let me no name. Energy cost of 3. 20k. Blue. Do I have to hit something else? Oh, sorry. Why am I doing this? I'm sorry. Why am I doing this? You want Sun Gohan Adolescence. So let's do. Oh, is it because I did 2,000 instead of 20,000? I forgot a 0. Oh, that's definitely not it. Alright, now let's try this again. There we go. So you do have this one, and then you do have this Combo Justice as well that you can pull out. The only thing is, though, that he doesn't get his effects, but he is a 20k. But I'm not worried about that. This is the guy I'm worried about playing. All right, being able to throw this guy out for 1 energy instead of 3, he can make your turn 2 really different. So, um, this is the deck so far. I'm just messing around with the ratios. I'm not sure if I want it because if I really try, I know I can get this deck down to 50. Like I can move her to the side deck. That'll bring me down to 52. Um, I can draw. There's a few ways I can play around this because again, this deck really suffers from like it doesn't have a good way to just wipe the board. So if you're gonna wipe the board, your only real option is sell. But until then, you're just stuck sticking around cards. And yeah, okay. So let's talk about the Z deck right before I forget. So we got the Beerus, get rid of barrier cards. We got the Self for the board wipe. We got the freezers to not only stand up your own energy, but to also get rid of your opponent's cards that they may or may not need. Again, I think the freeze is really good because it targets a lot of things that are 6 or less. So that's really nice. We got our finisher of the game. And then we have, you got to have your 1Z extra. Now, I was torn between Final Wish and Krillin Wish After Conflict. It really depends on what deck you're playing against. If you're playing against a Swarmy deck, I would probably put out Krillin because you get to just get rid of your opponent's cards. But if you're not playing such a Swarmy deck and you're playing a deck that plays like just really big cards and you need some defense, like that D Magic Final Wish is a very good option. And remember to pay attention to your combo cost too, because this is two, this is one, and it's very easy to want to play one of these two and realize you don't have the energy for this one. Again, Android 13, I mean 13, Android 18, just a 20k double strike really gets rid of your opponent's cards, and it also gets rid of your opponent's hands as well. So really useful. It's just such a good staple. And then we have our fearsome ability. Deflect barrier blocker gets rid of one of your opponent's cards. And this card can be really hard to get rid of because, again, with your ability to just boost up one of your cards by 15, you can turn into a 30k striker, 30k attack really fast. So, yep, that's that. And now let's talk about the side deck. So again, I put one of her, one of the Ox Kings. I did put two of the Yamchas. I took him out again. I took him out of the deck because I really wanted to just spend my energy on just going up to 15 or on the whole point castles. I don't want to. I don't want to have like um I want to make sure that I have enough energy to sort of be able to protect myself. And I just feel like even though I'm going into the battle step defensively, being able to just have a super combo and a half. Your opponent's going to have to combo at least a super combo to deal damage to you. And maybe in three cards if they're really trying to get at you. You know what I mean? So they've got to give you cards, and your opponent, again, is not going to be sure on how much energy you're really willing to spend. Honestly, in my opinion, if you stay over 4 energy, you know, you have an extra three super combos to turn. You know what I mean? So you could do some crazy stuff. Um, if you find yourself though running into a lot of energy, it might be viable to put two of these guys in your deck as a mainstay, just because they negate attacks. Next up, and you do want to, it is very hard to see cards in your draw. Again, I put the fourth one in the side deck. I put two of the Roachis in the side deck because again, it may help. I'm still not liking him. There's other options for him. Every time I feel like I want to play him, I just don't. I'd rather play the Ox King. We have the two Adventure for a Wish. Again, she's really good. It just depends on what you're playing. It depends on the deck you're playing against, pretty much. Um, Again, and the fourth Hopefully Capsule, fourth D Magic, a third Calamity Challenger. Now there is a chance he goes up to three in the deck himself because again he can just sort of remove himself, and I feel like any card that can just remove itself in this deck, especially when you're on your Awakened side, just provides a lot of value. He is pretty much free energy. And then we have some decisive strikes in case you get like the Frieza or you get this big boy out. I'm actually considering splitting desperate measures for one desperate measure and one decisive strike. Again, I know it's a 1-1, but I think they both serve a purpose. Because again, there's just a lot of cards Decisive Strike helps me hit that Desperate Measures will miss, but the cards that Desperate Measure will help me hit will let me put cards back into my energy. And like a good and like one of my texts is like you have Yamcha attack and your again, this is limit one. So during your opponent's turn, they play something, you do desperate measures, throw Yamcha back in your energy. Now next turn you got another. He's back and he's ready to strike again with that strike. He ready to strike again with that Wolfang fist. But yeah, I feel like I can split them into the deck, and then I threw in Deborah's Spit. I honestly, real talk, I feel like Deborah's Spit is just the Boris spit is like weakness for me. You know what I mean? You're not really sure how good it is until you need it, and then you realize, oh, it's not that good. I'm still on the fence about this guy. Um, I would just take him out the deck, honestly. I think he's just a one of. I don't know. Again, I'm just trying to enhance the power of the cards I have in deck, so you can probably get rid of that. And yeah, you could probably get rid of Rochis too. Um, and yeah, I think this is gonna be the deck that I that I'm moving around with. It's just figuring out the ratios now. Like I could probably go down to one of these Bulmas, throw her in the side deck. Probably go down to Poir. Tag that out for a Calamity Challenger. They're just finding out the right ratios at this point, and how because this deck does a lot of things, but I love it because there's no standard. There's lots of areas that you can sort of attack your opponent with and against, and I think it's really interesting how this deck moves. So yeah, um, I think that's gonna be it for this video. I don't got nothing much to add to this, because we did our takeouts. We have our Z deck. We have our extra deck. And at this point, it's just gaining more experience. I just got to play more games with her and sort of figure out what's gonna be the way I run into it. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video, y'all. I hope you're all entertained. Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and let me know what you guys think of this newly updated deck, and whether you've been playing against Bulma or with Bulma. What you think? Leave a comment down below, and I promise I'll get back to you when I get done working, like my probably 3 to 2s for the next 3 days. All right, but yeah, that's gonna be the end of this video. I'll catch y'all later. Have a good night. Peace, and let me hit that save deck. Because I apparently didn't save my last deck. And so when I went to go look at my decks and change it around, I was like, oh, it doesn't exist.